Are you someone who likes to stay up to date on all things fly fishing? Then you've got to check out what Kevin from the FlyBox LLC is doing. He's not only a great writer with a passion for fly fishing, he's also found a unique way to give back to the fly fishing community. Grab a cold beverage, pull up a chair as Kevin and I dive into great conversation. Welcome to BOC with Ketter, Season 1, Episode 11.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey Kevin, how you doing, man?
Good, good.
Awesome. I like that guitar you got there.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Do you play?
I do. I've been playing for almost 12 years now, I guess, maybe 13.
Sweet, that's awesome. I have no musical skills, and it's something I've always wished if I could go back, I would try to learn something. Probably never too late though, right?
No, it's not. It's hard. I mean, like with anything, it's just it takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I started learning when I got a guitar for like a birthday present when I was in like third grade. But I didn't really start taking it seriously at all or anything till I was maybe late fifth grade or sixth grade. And then started getting lessons. And I mean, when you're able to get lessons from somebody who actually is good at guitar, like I was lucky enough to have that. It's like that. It's somebody I've been through it and is actually good and can like be like, all right, look, you're gonna get here.
Yeah.
That's a lot better than
That's
trying to
sweet.
learn. I don't think I would have stuck with it if it was just me and YouTube. That
That's fair. That's fair. That's always a tough one. Awesome, man. Well, we'll go ahead and get started. I'll just kind of kick off by introducing you. I have Kevin here. Welcome to BOC with Ketter. Kevin is with the FlyBox, and we'll get all into that a little further down the episode. I'll first start out by asking if you got a little beverage in hand.
I got some tea.
Amen. I got a Spindrift sparkling water lime flavor.
Oh
So
no, I got a sparkling water here too. There you
there
go.
you go. Cheers, man.
Waterloo. Cheers.
Ooh, those are good. I do like those.
Spin drifts are good. I had one of those for the first time like a couple weeks ago. They're good.
They are pretty good. I like don't normally love sparkling water, but recently it's just kind of grown on me and I'm kind of like, okay, I can drink this. This isn't bad.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, great. We'll go ahead and dive in. So since we're talking about the fly box, I'm gonna kind of let you go ahead and tell us everything about that. What is the fly box?
Yeah, so the FlyBox is a company I started it last October, in the middle of last October, and started it because originally the idea was I wanted to make a subscription based like a FlyBox subscription monthly curated to your area. And I had been kicking around that idea for a couple of years actually, just like that would be kind of cool to see if you could set something like that up. It's not exactly a novel idea. There are forums of it and versions of it. And so when I started it, that was the original idea. And we do that actually right now. We have uh this saltwater box here full
That's
of 12
sweet.
different saltwater flies. So this is our first run of actual boxes that we ship out to people. We just started that a couple weeks ago. We just started selling these. So depending on how good this works, we'll see if we can get like a recurring subscription model as well. But mostly what it's turned into is our newsletter.
Mhm.
So it's daily fly fishing news every single day, reporting on everything from if there is like a newsworthy headline, somebody caught a record, whatever, we'll report on that. But everything from fly fishing business study and market analysis, industry trends, historical insights. Some of my favorite stuff to do is like take a look at like a fly fishing reel. Who invented the first one? Let's dive into the patents of it and like see who is accredited for it. Did somebody do it beforehand and stuff? So really just interesting stuff. And I mean, I pick all of the articles that we do, and we put one out every single day.
Wow.
So basically, I'll sit and think, and throughout the week, I'll think, I give myself about a few days of leeway
Mhm.
with scheduling articles that go out, so that I can like when I'm out fishing or something, be like, I wonder really how the rod weight system came to be. Like I know, and so in an article like that, I'll say, here is the weight system, here's what it means and how it is standardized now. But like, why is it called weight?
Yeah.
Why do we even abbreviate it WT?
Yeah. That's a great question.
Like, and so that's where I really have fun is getting to research all of this stuff. And like I do it because I become a lot smarter. And it's nice to be able to be out fishing with your friends and be like, do you know the origin of where tapered leader comes from? Do you know how we started doing tapered leader? Because I know every single thing about that.
That's sweet, man. Yeah, that's like, yeah, there's so much in the fly fishing world. I mean, just from the gear to the type of fish that are being targeted, I mean, to the flies that are being used, it is literally endless information. So for you to be able to like pick out certain things when you're on the water and then like become an expert on it and just learn it, that's super cool because there is endless stuff to learn, as you know.
Yeah, yeah, and even like some of my favorite articles to do, well, my I would say the easiest ones to do are the historical ones because
Hmm.
those I can actually
I
sit
like
down.
those.
I don't have to talk to anybody. I don't have to reach out to anybody unless I'm reaching out to like an expert in the field. I do that quite a bit, but I don't have to like wait on responses or anything. I can kind of just dive into some research. I can spend hours on it to and get to the point where I feel that I know a lot about it and then can sort of put it in my own words and I can cite sources and it's not like just trust me, I know this. It's like
Yeah.
no, this was said in this book on page 55 and this book this stuff. So and I like that because I can kind of take a week or
Mhm.
so to just develop a really good article about something and not like have to work on it nonstop, but I can like, when I'm lying in bed at night, I can do some Googling on whatever.
That's awesome, man. So when you get like an idea or a cool story, is it like you know like okay, I want to run with this. I'm gonna do all the research. What does like your research and development kind of look like when you're putting that all together?
Yeah, so Um, I start every single day. I have Google alerts go off on my phone 3 times a day, and it's 9 a.m., noon, and 7 p.m. And the Google alert is fly fishing news.
Okay.
And those are nice because it just Google emails you and it just says here are headlines and it curates ones that you haven't seen that are like since you last looked, which for me, I'm looking like every hour. So I consume, if you can imagine, I assume or consume fly fishing news all the time. Even if it's just quick reading the headlines and scrolling through, some things are like a lot of it is like this local shop in Michigan had an event, and it's like, okay, that's not really Harley.
Sweet.
But it's like that. It looks cool. There's some cool pictures from it. That's cool. But like I okay. But sometimes it'll be like 7 shops will have the same sort of event that I haven't really seen. Like maybe 7 shops will host one I wrote I think it was a month ago, I started seeing a bunch of articles that were fly shops are hosting movie nights, but they're not like the fly fishing film show. And they're not like, they're like watching Titanic just in the fly. And it's
That's
like,
awesome.
so I wrote an article like that is really cool. And I love going into like industry trends and stuff like that. It's like, here's what I've been seeing across whatever.
Mhm.
And I think it's a great idea because obviously a local brick and mortar fly shop is a hard business to run.
Yeah,
So it's as much community outreach as you can have. And the fact that they're in there watching Titanic right now and they're there because they like the shop. That's a great way to connect with communities. So,
that is.
uh, but yeah, I kind of just consume as much news as possible.
That is
Uh,
incredible.
Fishing news and then also like other industry news like what the businesses are doing on a day-to-day basis like uh like Patagonia was rated the second most trustworthy company in America out of every company in America.
Wow.
So that is really cool. So I'll see that and I'll say, all right, well, obviously I need to write about that. But then it's not just like reporting on it
Mhm.
because the standards I have for one of an article that I write and put out, they're pretty high.
Sure.
Like you have to be able to read the article and come out of it with actual knowledge.
Mhm.
Like an example, one I put out I think it was on Friday. I
Yeah.
put out an article. Um, the one of the senators of Vermont met in at the Orvis headquarters in Vermont, and they met there and I saw that through just like a news headline. And so I was reading and I was like, oh, this is cool. And I have all these questions like, I wonder why they met. Why did they meet? Why did
Yeah.
they meet at Orvis? Why did they do this and whatever? And all that I could figure out from like local Vermont press and like looking into like Fox News Vermont station were like they met at Orvis. These are the people that were there. They talked about tariffs. And I
Yeah.
was like, okay, but like why? And whatever. So when I took a couple days and did some research, and then when I put my article together, that happened at the end of May, and my article came out on Friday, I think it was.
Yep.
And so when my article was out, it was like not just like what they did and who was there is the bare minimum. That's like the first paragraph. And then it's like, well, let's consider why they met at Orvis. They're talking about tariff. Burlington Coat Factory is
Yeah.
headquartered in why didn't they meet there? Is they met in Orvis, and it wasn't just fly fishing companies who met there. So here's why they met there.
Sure.
And I mean, they met there because they were trying to highlight the fact that like
Mhm.
American pastimes like fly fishing are affected by modern political situations.
Sure. Sure.
Um, and so that you get a little bit of that. And then you get, well, here's actual tariff information from the bills that are being passed and laws and things that are going to get affected. That's all in there. And, like I try to just gather as much information
Yeah.
and then I think that article, or I know that article even had a section where it was like, here's what they didn't talk about at that meeting
Okay.
that we think they probably should have talked about at that meeting. And how it, I don't want to read the whole article for you, but it just like,
I did check it out. It was interesting.
yeah, it just blows by all the other articles that I was reading in comparison. And because I always approach it like, if you're gonna tell a friend that anecdote of information,
Yeah.
like, hey, did you hear they met at Orvis? And then if you read the news that I read, they'd be like, oh, that's cool. Why? I don't know. Well, who is there? I don't know. Well,
Yeah.
what does it mean? I don't know. It's like, okay, so you got nothing out of that. You just,
Literally nothing.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, after you read it, so that's sort of the stuff that
Mhm.
every single article we put out has to be like, you have to at least know the who, what, when, where, and
I
why.
was just gonna
And
say that. You stole the words.
yeah, at least. And then at the end, we usually end every article with, here's why it matters to fly fishing. If you didn't get anything else here, here's like a little bit of our opinion, and
Sure.
just here's what you can do if it's something that you could affect in your day-to-day life, or here's how you can change things. And then also at the end of every article now that we're starting to do is publishing the sources. Like, because I spend days cultivating information for these articles. At the end of the article, it's like a high school essay. At the end, it's like, you know what? Here are the sources. If you want to read this from people who aren't me,
Hmm.
here, go read that. And because the most important thing is that we become more informed
Yeah.
fly fishermen, and you just get to know more about the sport you are.
Absolutely. Have you ever run into any like copyright issues or anything like that? I'm sure you're doing your homework. I can definitely tell that, but have you ever like ran into any of that?
No, a lot of what we do when it comes down to that sort of stuff, that really the only thing we have to be careful about is like when and because we buy like the rights to read, I guess licensing to read certain studies that people put out.
Okay.
So like if somebody does, like we've had a couple articles where we talk about, we throw data in there that came from a report that we paid, $30 to read.
Okay.
And so there it can get a little bit of like gray area whether or not you're allowed to share that.
Sure.
Uh, Whether or not you're even allowed to share that for free. And then, it's a little gray area of where a lot of times we get around that by just saying, like, we have really good sources because we bought the
Like
like,
we
because you're
literally pay
allowed
for
to
it.
say we bought the study, and you're not allowed to cite or sort or whatever exactly what it says, but we bought the study and here's what we think based off of it.
Okay.
Um, but no, copyright and stuff, not very a big
Good.
issue. I mean, I could see definitely growing into a larger operation
Yeah.
would have to be an area of you'd have to become an expert on that.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah, that
so
stuff can get tough, but yeah, you definitely are very thorough with what you do from what I see. So
yeah,
I don't think
yeah.
you ever got to worry about that. That's awesome. And then remind me again, you located in like the southern states? Are you down in the south?
I'm in Southwest Florida.
Southwest Florida. Okay.
Yeah.
And your stories, from what I can see, aren't always specific to regions. Like you're open to the world, correct?
No, yeah, it's just interesting
That's
stuff.
awesome.
Like I said, like I kind of just sit and I consume all the news, and I follow everybody on
Mhm.
social media and just see what people are doing, and I kind of just sit back and like, I mean, a lot of what I do is listen to podcasts. I'll
Yeah,
listen to
same.
fishing podcasts, business podcasts, and whatever. Uh, like the one I actually just listened to a podcast, and it's this week's Sunday cast, my opinion article that I'm putting together for this weekend. Uh, I just listened to a podcast on the history of Lego and how Lego did whatever, and I'm listening to it, and I'm like, these. If I ran a fly fishing company, I would take that strategy. I'd take that. I'd take that. I'd
Yeah.
take that. So this week's article is what big fly fishing companies can learn from Lego, and
I
it's like,
I got a proposition for you. I don't know if you've ever been to Minnesota. I live in Minnesota, but we have the Mall of America and we have Legoland, Lego World. You
hmm.
got to come up and see it if you're into Legos.
I'm
It's
not even really like into Legos. I mean, they're cool,
yeah.
but it's just like that's the kind of stuff I'm drawn to.
Hmm.
Like just historical news, and like since I started doing this in October, it's like every single thing that I hear is like I immediately think my first thought is how does fly fishing get affected by that?
Yeah.
And how like could this be an article? Could this be something like a couple months ago? I think it was February. Um, Billabong and Volcom and the other Hurley, I think,
Yeah.
are the three companies. I think they went bankrupt
Yeah.
or declared bankruptcy in some way. So I saw that in the morning and I was just drawn to that. I was like, all right, well, I got to learn all about this.
Yeah.
Uh, and then I was just like, well, here's something like these brands built their brands off of like 80s and 90s surfers who became really loyal, and now those people are like 60 and 70 years old.
Right.
So I know a couple fly fishing companies who have kind of done the same thing. How are they pivoting to get whatever? And then I broke that article, that was a while ago. That article went out and it was just like, here's what they can learn. Here's how they're similar. Like the surfing industry and fly fishing industry are pretty similar.
Yeah.
Like here's where, you know, things as far as like their general strategy and consensus for it and how they compare to literally like, here's where the surfing industry sourced all their materials from. Here's where the fly fishing industry does. Here's an overlap, and here's what happened with them. So here's
Yeah.
what can happen with us. So that's what I really like to do, and just dive into stuff like that. And
That sounds
I think it's really fun to like sort of just relate everything to fly fishing,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah, it definitely like your wheels are always spinning. I feel like when yeah, you see something and it's like, how can I relate this to fly fishing? And like you said, honestly, you can find probably almost anything that's going on and relate it back to fly fishing or really any community in that sense, because
mm,
community is such a strong thing, and obviously you have a strong emphasis on that, just looking at your website and the charity giving back and stuff like that. So that's also very cool.
well, even I think my all-time favorite one I did was Skechers. The shoe company Skechers got sold for $9.4 billion, and I saw that in the morning, and I was like, how did they do that? And I literally spent the whole day researching that, relating it to fly fishing, and I mean they did it because they were in like the athlete market before any other shoe brand was.
Yeah,
And so I wrote a case study on Skechers and compared it to like major fly fishing brands. And then the next day I put out another article. I like pushed other articles back and I did another study on is there room for fly fishing to get into the athleisure market? Like where you're not because like it's sort of the same thing with I mean relating shoes to fly fishing is kind of tough, but like where everybody else like Nike, Adidas, and Under Armour, they all went for performance gear. Skechers went for comfortability. And it's like, you know, fly fishing waders and boots and stuff, they're all based on performance. It's like, I'm not a designer, I don't make boots, but could you make more comfortable boots? I don't know.
yes, please.
Yeah, for someone who's not trying to use them, beat the crap out of them and walk 10 miles a day.
Yeah,
If someone's going out like maybe 3 times a year, there's definitely a market there for that athleisure market. Somebody who's not gonna, it's not a pain to put on stuff. And I
yeah.
don't know if that's actually viable, if you can actually make a quality product that can do that, but that was just like the whole market study. So
I
that,
like that. That's a good idea. No, I go through wading boots and waders probably every 6, 7 months. I need a new pair because
uh,
I beat the heck out of them, and it's like, all right, time to buy some more. Here we go.
yeah. Well, I don't go through waders that often because I do not wear waders. I hate waders so much. We have a
I agree.
new shirts out actually that say wader hater on the back.
I seen that. I just seen that. Yeah.
And that was my idea because
I
I
love it.
hate them. I'll go like 57 degrees plus. I'll be wet wading.
Sure.
And yeah, I'll be really cold and my toes will be numb, but I will not. I hate waders so
Dude,
much.
that's funny. I hate them too, but I this time of the year, especially like early spring and beginning of summer, like all the rivers around me are just covered in poison ivy and just poisonous plants. So it's like
Yeah.
I otherwise no, I would wet wade all day long. I just actually they just arrived in the mail today. I on Amazon just got some literally like surfer like neoprene leggings. I'm gonna give those a try just to kind of see, and they should protect me from, the poisonous plants and stuff too. So I'm gonna try that and just put on some wading boots and do that because waders are bulky and they're hot and there's just a lot going on.
Yeah. Well, Sims just came out with their new packable waders,
I seen that. Yeah.
which are like the whole point is they come in weighing at under 2 pounds.
Hmm.
And like the whole point is they're supposed to be like you can barely they're not bulky and
Yeah.
stuff. I'd give might give that a try. I don't
Yeah.
know. I'm not personally I'm not really gonna be in the market for waders just
That's
because
fair.
but yeah, I was just fishing up in Pennsylvania.
Mm.
I'm from Pennsylvania originally.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so I was just I'm actually going up there for almost a month and then I'm gonna be out in Idaho
Oh,
for like
wow.
July, the end of June and most of July.
Dude, heck yeah.
Uh, but yeah, I was just up there. I guess it was April, end of April. Yeah. And I was fishing and it was like 53 in the rivers and I was like, it's too cold. So I was wearing waders, but I didn't love it.
Yeah, yeah, that's fair. Have you probably seen them? That backcountry skins. Have you seen that brand yet? Yeah,
Yeah.
those look pretty cool. I mean, I guess that's basically what I just ordered, just a cheaper version. But those definitely seem like the kind of move right now for a lot of people.
Yeah. And Pennsylvania has some of those like bushes and plants and stuff, like the ones with like the weird stuff that stings you and stuff. It's nothing's worse than that. I'll wear waders to avoid that.
Yeah,
But
it'll ruin
if
your
I know
fishing.
where I'm going and it's nice enough, I'm gonna avoid waders at all
Yeah,
times.
yeah, I agree. I agree. I need to
Not
pull.
to say I don't own a couple pairs, because
Exactly, exactly. Awesome, man. Well, that's been a lot of great information. So how can they get involved? How can they like help out? How can they, be part of what you're doing and just kind of help out with all that?
yeah, so every month we pick a different charity to partner with and we go in 50-50 with our subscriber fees. So it's $10 a month to subscribe to the Cast That Care charity news.
Yep.
You'll get daily fly fishing news. We aim to put, you know, articles every single day, but then we also put out 3 times a week. We try to get free articles out where we work with people. I'll see somebody on Instagram
Mhm.
who just started a cool new business or is, probably a lot like what you do.
Mhm.
And I'll reach out to them and do an interview and I'll try to get, 2 or 3 of those a week. Just interesting things. And I've sat down with cool companies like Fish Techie, the proof
Oh
ball
yeah.
people.
Yeah, I
Sat
seen that,
down with.
man. Yeah, that was awesome. I use
Yeah.
that every time I fish.
Yeah. Yeah, I sat down with Lawrence, the founder of that company, and like, just sitting down with people trying to get stuff out just to because those are the fun ones where you talk to people about how they got started, what their business is, why, or even if they're just posting on social media, it's like, well, you got like 20,000 followers. Why?
Wow.
How'd you do that? How are you? So we try to do that. So that's all the stuff you'll get in
Mhm.
the Cast That Care charity news, and it's $10 a month,
Yep.
and 50% of that goes directly to a different fly fishing charity each month. And like we don't take any costs out of it before like it's $10. Five is immediately put aside for the charity, and at the end of the month we donate the pot. And then all the expenses and everything comes out of our five.
Sure.
Uh, and it's 105 for the year, so that's $15 off the
Sure.
regular value of it. So, uh, if people want to get involved,
Mhm.
I guess the best thing to do would be subscribe, learn, read, and support charity and support us while we keep doing it and also supporting charity. But also just follow along on Instagram. Instagram and TikTok is what we're
Yeah.
doing pretty big on. Trying to do a lot more on that stuff and um drop a comment, or if you are reading an article, or you find my email on the website. If you want to learn more about something in fly fishing and we haven't written about it, let me know and we will dive into that and we'll figure out a time to put that article out. And
Yeah.
I love like talking to other people about it, especially other fly fishermen who are like, if any fly fisherman asks me a question that I don't know the answer to, I write it down. I'm like, all
Yeah.
right, article. We could
Yep.
dive into that one. It's like, thank you for that.
Thank you.
So yeah, so and there's been a couple times where I talk to the people I fish with and they're like they'll have questions like that and I'm like the next day I'll text them and be like, wait till next Tuesday, and that I just did a deep dive that's coming out next Tuesday.
That's awesome,
Uh,
man. I love that.
So but yeah, just being involved and supporting us wherever you see us, and then if you want, I think I've only gotten good feedback from people who
Oh yeah.
subscribe to the newsletter.
Yeah.
So I guess market research wise, people love it.
They do.
So it's
Yeah.
worth, and I love that we're able to donate to the charity as well. And as we get bigger, we'll do bigger and better things, all focused around charitable aspects,
Mhm.
uh, at the core.
Yeah, that's amazing that that's kind of, built into your core. That's very cool. Very cool. And then so obviously you are the owner and the founder. Are you the only guy behind all this right now, or do you have some
Yeah,
people kind of helping you?
it's just me. I do everything.
Hey, good for you, man.
Yeah,
You're busy. You're busy.
yeah, I did. Yeah, I write all the articles, and that took a while because like I have a vault of like articles where if it's like, all right, these are good, and this one's never gonna get published because if I'm ever really behind, I know this is a good
Yeah.
one that can go out at any time, and I'm gonna publish this.
Yeah.
But no, I think I've gotten into a rhythm where I can write, and do all my research like over the weekend, and then I'll sit down like Monday, Tuesday, and I'll outline everything, and then I'll schedule it ahead. But then I'm constantly like, if something happens, I'm like, all right, well, this is more relevant to the time. So I'll post this one tomorrow and push this one to next week and stuff. So, but yeah, in the beginning, it was like I designed the website, made the
Yeah.
website, it got incorporated, did all that, and did yeah, it was a lot. But
That is
now I've
awesome.
kind of got it under control and able to just, that's why I used to do like one or two like TikTok or Instagram videos a week, but now it's like now that I'm like in a groove, I can be
Yeah.
like, all right, well, let me take an article I wrote 2 weeks ago and then let's talk about it on TikTok, and we'll just
Exactly.
and
Yeah.
that'll be a video, and it's marketing and people actually get smarter because that's the main thing is like I want anything that I do it has to provide value to the person consuming it, whether it's a TikTok video, even like a comment on a TikTok video or an Instagram picture or something. Like everything that I do, if you I always look at like the people in Vermont who wrote articles that I really didn't get anything out of. It's like I took a I clicked your headline, I read your article. It took me like 5 minutes. I scrolled past your stupid ads and I didn't learn anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just got cheated. So like everything that we do has to at least provide a little bit of value, and a lot of that value is you're going to be smarter or at least know more about whatever we're talking about, you know, in like an easy way that's helpful to understand.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think you're doing a great job with that. I gotta ask more about the writing process. Is writing like natural to you? Is it something you've always liked to do, or is it like this kind of forced you to like become that, or are you just naturally like a writer?
I don't know. No, I'm not a natural writer.
No?
No, I would hated it in like high school and
Yeah.
college. I just graduated college last year.
Oh, congratulations.
And no, I was never a big like essay, whatever. But what I found is writing about things that I enjoy. Like
Bingo.
it's so much easier than like writing a 5-page essay about the Great Gatsby and whatever the heck of the 1920s. It's like, no, that's so annoying. I don't like it. I hardly even read the book. Uh, but writing about fly fishing is like it doesn't even seem like it's not homework or it's hardly even a job because it's like I literally think here's something interesting. Let's do a bunch of research. I would do the research anyway. And now it's like the only tough part that was kind of tough to sort of do in the beginning was how do I take it? Because a lot of the times it's like the studies that we read are full of like science lingo and like
Yeah.
stuff that I'm not even like if I'm in an article. and I see a word that I don't know. I personally, I'm like, "Ah, I hate this," and I
Yeah.
put my phone down. I stop. I'm like, I don't want whatever. So trying to first couple articles, we kind of tried to do like, let's see how well we can get this across because I don't want to make you feel stupid when you read it, but I don't want to also like patronize you and talk to you like a 3-year-old.
Yeah, that's a
It's
fine
like
line. Yeah.
so, but we've gotten that pretty dialed in. And a lot of what we did, almost every article I put out will have some sort of like infographic. And it's like, here's 10 bullet points and, all that stuff put into like a timeline or something that really easy to read and, visuals along with like supporting evidence and
Yeah.
uh but yeah, that's not really a natural writer. I actually used to be a mechanic. I went to
Okay.
college. I majored in automotive restoration management.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So I just graduated last year. I moved down to Florida to work at a shop, and I did that for a few months, and now I'm doing this. So,
Nice, man. It's funny how life just takes you on journey paths, and it's you never know what's going to happen. And you nailed it. Like doing something that you care about and that you're passionate about makes everything 100 times better. Like it's like this is not work. This is fun. I enjoy this, and you can really put in your whole heart when you feel that way. So I 100% agree with you on that.
yeah.
That's,
Especially in an industry like fly fishing, it's like uh everybody wants to work and just see you succeed. Like I've reached out to people
you
who
do.
I got no business talking to these people. They're way more famous. They got a million more years experience and like they shouldn't even be like respond taking the time to respond to me, but they are. And
Yeah.
they're always like, "This is so cool. I love what you're doing. Keep at it. Whatever. Here's how I can help and whatever, whatever." Uh and so that has been pretty motivating throughout that as well. It's just like
Yeah.
I've literally like never gotten a no. It's always been
Yeah.
like at the most it's been like a not right now or
Yeah.
maybe we'll do it this way instead. And it's like, all right, cool.
Yeah, dude, I agree. Like what I was very hesitant to start like YouTube because like it's intimidating to like put yourself on the internet. Like it just is because people are gonna have their opinions, right? And it's like I've in the fly fishing community, no one is like trying to belittle you or make you feel dumb or anything. Like everyone's just trying to lift each other up, provide knowledge and help. And like I did not expect that starting out either. It's
Yeah.
very cool how such a tight-knit group it is when you got people from literally all over the world helping each other. So it's cool to be part of something.
Yeah. And it's especially cool in fly fishing is a definite industry where it's older guys. They've been doing it their whole lives. They're getting old, they're retiring, they're passing away, and it's like there's a definite community of young guys. I mean, I'm 23,
Oh
and it's
wow.
like, yeah, so it's like there's a definite community
Dang.
of. I've been fly fishing for almost a decade, and I got a bunch of friends who fly fish. I got a bunch of people who are like between, and I mean, I've done industry studies and market research. There are a ton of people who are like between 15 and 25 who
Mhm.
are really wanting to get into, especially since the pandemic too has been a
Yeah,
rise as well. Really wanting to get into doing something cool, unique, something fun outside, and fly fishing is like nailing that. And in a lot of industries where it's an older guy thing to do, you don't really see that being handed down as much. And it really is in fly fishing. It's pretty remarkable.
it is. I agree. I just was out last weekend and ran across he was an older gentleman and we literally talked for probably 30 minutes and he was just like, I love seeing younger. I'm not super young, I'm 30, but to him that's younger and he's like, I love seeing people, in your age bracket doing something that I love and people in my age love and doing it the right way. They obviously want to emphasize like, do everything the right way, which I think we can all agree on. But yeah, it's very cool how they're kind of passing the torch and enjoying seeing the younger people get into such a cool sport.
Yeah.
It's awesome. That's awesome. All right, I got one more question for you. This one might be hard because I'm sure you got a lot, but what has been like your favorite story to report on, to learn about? Just like that one story where you're like, this is everything. This is what I love.
Um, there's a couple.
Yeah, I figured. Take your
Well, I
time. Take
mentioned a
your time.
couple already, but
You
beyond,
did.
I put one together. Like I spent like 2.5, 3 weeks putting one together because I figured if we're gonna be a source of news, we have to have a list of like bucket list destinations. And so it started out, I was like, I'll just do some research on like 10 bucket list destinations that I would want to go to. And
Mhm.
then 10 turned into 15 and 20. I think it's at 30. And I keep going back and adding to it. And it's at 30, but like number 20 is Iceland. And then sub 20 is here are the 5 cities in Iceland. So it's really like 50 places. And I got that, from like doing research and just my own personal knowledge. But then also, like, I keep going back to it. It's like, all right, I met this guy who's a guide in Iceland. And he said, this is where you need to go. This is what you need to do. So I'll go and I'll throw that in there. So that's a good one for a couple of reasons because it's our longest article. I think it's like it'll
Okay.
take you like 30 minutes to read the
Oh,
whole thing.
wow.
If you read the whole thing, it's long. But yeah, the it's also my favorite because whenever I am thinking about doing something, I go to that list and I'm like,
Sure.
this is cool. And like, oh, I forgot that this is that where that is. And yeah, those are fun. We did one where I dove into like I said, the history of fly fishing reels, and like that was cool because I was like deep into the rabbit hole of the patent files from 1855 and looking at like C.F. Orvis patents versus Billinghurst patents and seeing who did it first and why like if you really get into it, it's so nerdy, but if you really get into it, they probably shouldn't have let both patents exist because they were so similar. And C.F. Orvis gets credited with the first real one. Billinghurst had one like 5 years earlier, but didn't have enough money. It was, you can make a whole HBO documentary about that. I would watch.
I'd
Not a
watch
lot
it
of
too.
people would.
I'd watch it too. That's awesome. That's awesome, Kevin. Well, great. I think we kind of went through the majority of my questions. Is there anything else you want to cover for Flybox?
Not really. I mean, just tune in. You can find us
Yeah.
on Instagram, TikTok at the FlyBox LLC, flyboxllc.com.
Mhm.
You'll check out our charity newsletter, shop our boxes, and we got some cool, funny apparel
You do
too.
have some good apparel. I will be ordering a hat very soon. I like your hats. I'm a huge hat guy, like never not have a hat.
The sweatshirt I'm always wearing in the videos, the
Yeah,
blue on the back, it's an old guy and it says pretty fly for a white guy on it.
I like it. I like it. I'm
That's
definitely
my
going to
favorite.
be ordering something. That's very cool. Well, I just want to take some time to thank you too, Kevin, for coming on this. I know everyone's got their jobs and their
No
lives, so I
problem.
do appreciate you coming on and sharing your story.
Yeah, no problem. If you ever want to chat again, I'm always up for it.
Absolutely. I think, yeah, we should do it again and talk about some fishing because you're in Florida, I'm in Minnesota, different world. So I'd love to
Oh, yeah.
definitely talk some
Well,
fishing.
and I'm going to be going up Idaho, Pennsylvania,
Yeah.
and Florida this summer, so I'll have plenty of stories by the end of
Yeah,
this,
we'll
by
circle back,
August.
circle back at the end of summer and do this again for sure.
Sounds good.
Awesome. Take care, Kevin. Thank you.
All right, bye, man.
Bye bye.